This is Atlantic Television Network. Welcome to Global News at 9 p.m. First, the highlights. Christian Broadcasting Network visits Morrison Communication. Wike arrives Dubai for 2025 Asia Pacific Cities Summit. Tinubu charged new service chiefs on vigilance. FIRS tax collection hits 47.39 trillion naira. And Paul Biya wins presidential election in Cameroon. Osimhen commends Galatasaray win over Göztepe. Actress Regina Daniels acquires new house. Welcome back. Group Regional Director of the Christian Broadcasting Network for Anglophone West Africa, Dr. Felix Oyi-Samoje, on Monday, October 27, 2025, paid a courtesy visit to its media partner, Morrison Communication Limited, owners of Atlantic Television Network, Wish FM, and Morrison Media Academy, to commend the organization for promoting humanitarian projects. The visit is aimed at establishing a good working relationship with her media partner. In an interview with Wish FM News correspondent Alawuru Praise, Dr. Oyi-Samoje commended Morrison Communications for her partnership, support, and continued airing of CBN programs. He said the organization is conscious of the power of the media, and the network produces several television programs, among other initiatives. He further said beyond airing their programs, the organization is looking forward to expanding its reach by increasing the number of humanitarian projects it undertakes and the volume of content it produces. Morrison Communications Limited, Dr. Chinyere Igwe, welcomed the Christian Broadcasting Network CBN team to Port Harcourt and assured them of the company's continuous support. Rivers State Governor Simon Alaye Fubara has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to completing the 62.65-kilometer Port Harcourt Ring Road project despite setbacks. He spoke at a section of the project during a recent and on-site inspection tour of the project, adding that the state government was determined to deliver the project, which has faced delays due to financial challenges, and the construction company Julius Berger Nigeria PLC is mobilizing workers to site. The governor described the project as one of the most significant infrastructure undertakings in the state's history, which will ease traffic congestion and stimulate economic activities. According to the project site engineer, Mike Andre, who confirmed the governor's remarks on the project, said there had been remobilization to the site, and the Port Harcourt Ring Road project stands as a monumental infrastructure initiative that will be delivered as planned. He said the Ring Road project spans over 50.15 kilometers, and the dual carriageway interlinks 6 local government areas, including Port Harcourt, Obiapo, Ikwere, Eche, Eleme, and Ogubolo, including 6 flyovers and a river crossing bridge for enhanced transportation efficiency. The Ring Road project was awarded in July 2023 with a 36-month completion period. Hydrocarbon Pollution Remediation Project says it has achieved 94% of completion in the first phase of the mangrove restoration program, and have also recorded shoreline remediation activities across Ogoni land. High Prep Projects Coordinator Professor Neni Barini Zabehu disclosed this during the third quarter interactive session with Ogoni youth groups held in Port Harcourt. Rivers State said the interactive forum, which began in 2023, was designed to foster transparency, inclusiveness, and constructive engagement with Ogoni youths on the progress of the ongoing environmental cleanup and development project. Zabe said beyond mangrove restoration, shoreline remediation had reached 67.1% completion, while phase 2 of land remediation stood at 36.55%, adding that 2 additional facilities in Ben and Gwara in the Kana local government area of the state would be inaugurated next week. Zabe further said work on the Ogoni Specialist Hospital had reached 76.8% completion, while the Buan Cottage Hospital was at 98.7%, alongside other public health interventions such as the ongoing human biomonitoring survey on livelihood development. The High Prep boss said over 7,000 Ogoni women and youths had benefited from employment opportunities, while 5,000 others had been trained in various skills and provided with start-up kits, and further urged Ogoni youths to remain peaceful and also shun misinformation and collaborate with project teams in their communities, stressing that the success of the cleanup depended largely on their unity and constructive engagement. Rivers State High Court has discharged and acquitted 12 persons standing trial over the alleged murder of Police Inspector Christiana Erekere. The accused, who had been arraigned on a 13-count charge bordering on conspiracy and murder, said the alleged murder occurred at the Taba Police Division in Kana local government area while they were reportedly traveling from Delta State to Akwa Ibom State for a wedding. On April 24, 2024, delivering judgment, Justice Augusta Chukwu held that the prosecution failed to establish any direct link between the defendants and the alleged crime, and the court consequently discharged and acquitted all 12 defendants and further awarded 1 million naira each as compensation for their unlawful arrest and detention. Akwa Ibom Police Command has described as misleading media reports that armed men raided a student's lodge and abducted 15 students and carted away valuable properties in Ikotekbene local government area of the state. A statement by the command's public relations officer, DSP Team from John in Uyo, said there was no incident of abduction as reported in the story, and it was established that the operatives at the location were from the EFCC conducting a sanctioned operation. The CP, who commended the operatives of the command for their professional conduct, urged all law enforcement agencies to synergize with the police when carrying out operations within our area of responsibility to prevent such a mix-up, adding that the command remains resolute in its commitments to ensuring the safety and security of all residents and visitors in Akwa Ibom State. Total of 108 persons have been arrested in different parts of Umuahia and brought before the Abia State Mobile Environmental Court for trading and loitering during the October edition of the state's monthly cleanup exercise. They were apprehended by a task force deployed by the Abia State Ministry of Environment, and out of the 108 defaulters, 10 persons were discharged by the court for providing evidence as students, and 2 persons were freed due to health conditions, while 96 others were convicted and fined by the mobile court presided over by Magistrate Chinenye Ibekwe. Speaking after monitoring the exercise, the Abia State Commissioner for Environment, Mr. Philemon Ogbonna, said maintaining a clean environment, remains one of Governor Alex Oti's key strategies to protect Abia residents from disease outbreaks, adding that house-to-house sanitary inspectors have been deployed by the state government to ensure that homes and business premises are kept free of pollution. Ogbonna commended the Nigerian Army for participating in the cleanup of the EC Gate axis of Umuahia through its civic activities, stressing that their involvement gave the town a more sparkling look. Anambra State Police Command has arrested 7 suspected cultists who are allegedly being groomed for election thuggery during the governorship election slated for November 8, 2025. This is coming after the suspects were arrested during an initiation ceremony in a bush at Obinago, Abagana in Ijukoka local government area of the state. A statement by the spokesman for the Anambra State Police Command, SP Tochukwu Ikenga, said a 25-liter can containing red liquid substance, red ritual cloth, 2 wooden drums, footwear belonging to the suspects and other accomplices were also recovered at the scene. Ikenga said operatives of the Special Anti-Cult Squad Enugu in collaboration with Aguna Chamber vigilante operatives arrested the suspects in the early hours of Sunday, adding that they were later confirmed to be suspected members of the Black Axe confraternity. According to him, an investigation is ongoing to identify and arrest 3 members of the syndicate and to recover other linked cult cells within the axis, adding that the Commissioner of Police CP Ikoye Orutugu will not tolerate activities that threaten peace, especially in the build-up to the governorship election. The Commissioner of Police CP Ikoye Orutugu reaffirms that the command will not allow cult groups, armed gangs, or political talks to threaten the peace and electoral stability of the state, and urge parents, community leaders and youth groups to discourage young people from being recruited into cult-related activities while assuring India number of enhanced security deployments across all local government areas. All Progressives Grand Alliance says Anambra State Governor Professor Chukwuma Soludo's cash reward promised for every ward won by his party in the forthcoming November 8th governorship election is not an act of vote buying, but a strategic move to encourage healthy competition and voter participation across the state. This is coming after Soludo, who is also the APGA candidate in the election, stirred controversy after declaring the reward during the party's campaign rally in Umunze, Orumba South local government area on Saturday. The governor had promised to give his party supporters cash incentives for every ward won, and the pledge has provoked backlash from opposing parties and civil society organizations who described the move as an open inducement and a gross violation of the Electoral Act. But reacting in a statement, the National Publicity Secretary of APGA, Mazi Ejimofo Opara, defended the governor's action, insisting that it was designed to tackle voter apathy and inspire massive turnout during the polls, adding that the initiative would create a sense of competition that would translate into increased voter participation and should not be mistaken for vote buying. Director of the Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service, Margaret Adeseye, in a fresh situation report said 1 person was identified dead and 26 victims rescued from a collapsed building in Lagos. This is coming after an undisclosed number of persons were trapped after a building collapsed in Lagos in the early hours of Monday, and the situation report said affected building has been identified as a 2-story building located at 54 Cole Street near Cemetery bus stop in the Oyingbo area of Lagos. Adeseye, who confirmed the incident, said the Shari Igamo fire station team was immediately dispatched to the scene after receiving a distress call at about 12:20 a.m. on Monday, and the agency confirmed that the structure, which had previously shown signs of distress, gave way while residents were still inside. Such incidents are often tied to weak enforcement of regulations, substandard materials, and inadequate inspections, and one of the more prominent recent cases in Lagos was a high-rise in the Ikoyi area. A luxury apartment block under construction collapsed in November 2021, killing at least 42 people. While in September 2025, another collapse occurred in the Yaba district of Lagos in a 4-story building under construction, leaving many dead and trapped. Lagos State Commissioner of Police, Mr. Olohundare Jimo, has warned activists Omoyele Sowore and others against mobilizing protests over recent demolitions in the state. Jimo gave the warning while addressing newsmen in the Iyana Oworo axis of the 3rd Mainland Bridge on Monday in Lagos, adding that the command had made massive deployments across the city to forestall any planned demonstrations that could lead to public disorder. He also said the command will not tolerate any attempts to block major highways or disrupt the peace currently being enjoyed in Lagos. The police chief said officers had been stationed at strategic points including the 3rd Mainland Bridge, Maryland, Ojota Gani Fawahimi Park, Bagada Bariga Lekki Toll Gate and other areas to ensure peace and order, adding that the Constitution guarantees freedom of expression and peaceful assembly, while protests must follow due process and must not infringe on the rights of others. He accused some individuals of attempting to exploit the situation for political or criminal purposes, warning that the police would not allow anyone to use the guise of protest to cause mayhem, and further assured law-abiding residents of adequate protection. Ondo State Police Command has arrested one Ada Clement for allegedly operating a baby factory in Ore, at the headquarters of Odigbo local government area of the state. According to the public relations officer of the command, Mr. Olayinka Ayanlade, in a statement, the men of the command rescued 5 pregnant underage girls found in the illegal facility. The police said the suspect sold babies sold at 400,000 naira and above for female children and 600,000 naira and above for male children, adding that one of the victims was delivered of a baby boy in the facility, and the case, which was transferred from the Ora division to the command's gender-based violence unit, is presently under active investigation. The PPRO said preliminary investigation had revealed that the suspect Ada Clement and her accomplices had confessed to the crime, admitting that the facility was being used as a baby factory where young pregnant girls were kept until they were delivered, after which their babies were sold to individuals seeking children. To this end, the PPRO said the State Commissioner of Police, Mr. Adebawale Lawal, had ordered a full investigation into the incident to ensure that all members of the trafficking ring were apprehended and prosecuted accordingly, and further said frantic efforts were ongoing to arrest other fleeing members of the syndicate, who are currently being trailed by detectives from the command's gender-based violence unit. Ogun State government, in collaboration with the Clinton Health Access Initiative, has inaugurated the Health System Sustainability Task Force to strengthen resilience, ensure coordinated service delivery, and promote government ownership of critical health functions. Speaking during the inauguration in Abeokuta, the Commissioner for Health, Dr. Tommy Kuka, who chairs the task force, said the move was necessitated by the disruptions caused by the suspension of United States government global health funding earlier in the year. She said the policy was capable of making Nigeria's health system vulnerable and also affecting essential services such as HIV, tuberculosis, reproductive maternal, newborn and child health, and malaria interventions, adding that the multi-stakeholder platform would provide decision support to the governor and the executive council. The state coordinator of the National Primary Health Care Development Agency, Mr. Sholape Folarin, described the initiative as inevitable for sustaining the gains of the various health programs evident in the state, and further called for the inclusion of all stakeholders in the health sector to achieve the outlined objectives. Ekiti State Governor Biodun Oyebanji has officially emerged as the All Progressives Congress APC candidate for next year's gubernatorial election after he emerged through a popular voice vote echoed by a total of 885 delegates who were elected on Saturday across the 177 electoral wards in the 16 local government areas of the state. His election took place at the Ekiti State Pavilion located along the New Iyin Road, Ado Ekiti, via a popular consensus, and while kickstarting the exercise, Senate leader Michael Opeyemi Bamidele moved the motion for Oyebanji's nomination and adoption as consensus candidates, while incumbent Speaker of Ekiti Assembly Adoye Arebashoye seconded with the development. Oyebanji became the first governor under the banner of APC in the state to win the party's candidature back-to-back since the inception of the current democratic dispensation. Speaking earlier in an opening address, Governor Ahmed Usman Ododo of Kogi State, who doubles as chairman of Affirmation Congress Committee, said the decision by the party to arrive at the consensus arrangement was basically an in-house party's choice of way and a collective effort. The national chairman of All Progressives Congress, APC, Professor Nentawa Yewada, had earlier on Sunday in Ado Ekiti inaugurated a 11-man consensus committee for the party's primary election in the state, and the committee, chaired by Kogi State Governor Ahmed Ododo and deputized by his Edo counterpart Monde Ekwebelo, will conduct the affirmation of Oyebanji as the sole candidate of the party for 2026 gubernatorial poll. In his acceptance speech, Oyebanji thanks President Bola Tinubu and other top brass of the party, especially the Senate leader and Ekiti National Assembly caucus current Ekiti Speaker, former governors Ni Adebayo and wife, as well as Kayode Fayemi, including every member of the party. University of Jos student Peter Mafuyai has been allegedly killed by his colleague, identified simply as Nampon Timnan, in the off-campus apartment at Rusau village in the Jos North local government area of Plateau State. In a video posted on Facebook by Happy Londi, that the deceased was a 300 level student of the Department of Banking and Finance. Londi said Nampon Timnan is a 200 level student of Agricultural Science, and the lifeless body of the deceased was placed in an ambulance as medical personnel covered it with a purple cloth. According to him, the deceased allegedly begged for his life before he was eventually killed by the suspect. A security and counterinsurgency expert in a post on X said the suspect had been arrested by operatives of the Plateau State Police Command, adding that the suspect is in custody while an investigation is ongoing to ascertain the motive behind the killing. The command spokesperson, Alfred Alabo, could not respond to calls made to his phone for reaction, but the exact circumstances surrounding the man's death are still unknown. Minister of Federal Capital Territory FCT, Barrister Yesom Wiki, has departed Abuja for the 2025 Asia Pacific Cities Summit and Mayors Forum in Dubai this week. A statement by the Minister's Senior Special Assistant on Public Communications and Social Media, Lere Olanyika, who disclosed this on Monday, said Wiki, who left Abuja on Sunday, arrived Dubai, United Arab Emirates, at about 4 a.m. on Monday. He was received by the Consul General of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in Dubai, Ambassador Jayanu Ibrahim, as well as officials of the Federal Capital Territory Administration who had arrived earlier. According to the statement, the minister would lead a discussion panel in which he will field questions on the FCT and also interact with mayors of other capital cities during the summit, and 2025 asks will deliver long-term value for cities and businesses seeking trade and investment opportunities in Asia Pacific, the Middle East, Africa, South Asia and beyond. The event, which is an initiative of Brisbane City Council, Australia, is one of the most diverse convenings of mayors, city leaders, business executives and young professionals worldwide. Federal Capital Territory Administration, FCTA, has engaged religious leaders to promote healthcare services and environmental sustainability through intensive field advocacy for the ongoing child immunization compliance campaign for measles rubella under the Child Rights Act 2003. According to the Health Secretariat, the vaccine for the immunization is free, safe, effective and secures the future of every child, while calling for household-wider participation and compliance. Joseph Moses Manyunika have the details of the story. Courts in Kaduna State were shut on Monday as the Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria began on an indefinite strike to press home several demands, including the implementation of financial autonomy for the judiciary. This is coming after the federal and state high courts, upper Sharia courts, as well as customary and magistrate courts were under lock and key with banners on the gates reading, while some staff members of the court were seen outside the court premises attending to clients who need affidavits. Jusun said the industrial action was due to the state government's failure to respond to multiple correspondences, including a demand letter dated September 1 and an ultimatum letter dated October 9, 2025, and all efforts to reach an amicable resolution had been ignored, leaving it with no option but to down to tools. The union listed its demands to include the implementation of financial autonomy for the judiciary in line with the 1999 Constitution, as amended, implementation of consequential salary adjustments and payment of withheld salaries for April and May 2021, including the payment of 9 years arrears of a 20% salary component from 2016 to date, settlement of arrears of leave and transport gains covering 9 years, and payment of outfit allowances for judiciary staff. The union said that the decision to embark on the strike was taken at an emergency meeting held on October 13, and had directed all courts and judicial units, including the High Court, Sharia courts, customary courts and other judicial offices across the state, to ensure full compliance with the strike directive. African Democratic Congress ADC in Adamawa State has inaugurated its caretaker executive committee to steer the party's affairs until a new leadership is formally elected. Presiding over the inauguration, the Northeast Zonal Vice Chairman of the ADC, David Lawal Babake, said stakeholders agreed to constitute the interim team to stabilize the party and prepare it for the 2027 general elections. Babake, who served as secretary to the government of the Federation, SGF, during Muhammadu Buhari's administration, said the new structure was approved by the National Working Committee after due consultation and compliance with the party's constitution. According to him, the national chairman of the ADC, Senator David Mark, has reaffirmed the party's commitment to uphold its constitution, warning that anyone opposed to its guiding principles has no place in the ADC, and also called for harmony among members, saying every politician must expect criticism, but that should not change our character or commitments to the party. In his acceptance speech, the new interim chairman, Barrister Sadiq Dasin, expressed appreciation to party leaders for their confidence in his team, while the former federal lawmaker and one-time speaker of the Adamawa State House of Assembly promised to unite the party and give special focus to women and youth participation. He further pledged to ensure that all future congresses in the state would be transparent, fair, and credible. Gombe State Governor Muhammadu Yahaya has expressed deep sorrow over the tragic road accident involving a Kano Line passenger bus that claimed 13 lives, leaving 5 others injured after departing the state motor park. According to reports, the Kano Line passenger bus was involved in a fatal crash while en route to Kano, resulting in the deaths of 13 passengers and injuries to 5 others. In a condolence message issued by his Director General of Press Affairs, Ismaila Misili, the governor described the incident as heartbreaking and a monumental loss not only to the bereaved families but also to the nation. Yahaya commiserated with the families of the victims while urging them to take solace in the will of the Almighty Allah, and also extended sympathy to the management of Kano Line Transport Company and Ibrahim Dankwambo Mega Motor Park in Gombe from where the ill-fated vehicle took off, calling for a comprehensive review of safety measures to prevent future occurrences. You're watching the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. We'll be back after this break. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. This is the Global News and Atlantic Television Network, and now to the rest of our stories. President Bola Tinubu has expressed appreciation to the outgoing Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, and the other service chiefs for their patriotic service and dedicated leadership, and charged the newly appointed service chiefs to justify the confidence reposed in them by further enhancing the professionalism, vigilance, and comradeship that define Nigeria's armed forces. Tinubu disclosed this when he met with the newly appointed service chiefs at the presidential villa on Monday in Abuja. The new military heads arrived at the forecourt of the villa in a black Mercedes-Benz van, piloted by a green Toyota Land Cruiser, and those in attendance were the Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General Femi Oluyede, Chief of Army Staff, Major General W. Shuaibu, Chief of Naval Staff, Rear Admiral I. Abbas, Chief of Air Staff, Air Vice Marshal S.K. Aneke, and Chief of Defense Intelligence, Major General E.A.P. Udiendeye. This is coming after Tinubu made sweeping changes in the military hierarchy on Friday, October 24, 2025, in furtherance of the efforts of the federal government to Nigeria to strengthen the national security architecture. A statement by the President's Special Advisor on Media and Public Communications, Sunday Direct, said the President appointed General Olufemi Oluyede to replace General Christopher Musa as the new Chief of Defense Staff, while the new Chief of the Army Staff is Major General W. Shaibu. Air Vice Marshal S.K. Aneke is Chief of Air Staff, while Rear Admiral I. Abbas is the new Chief of Naval Staff, Chief of Defense Intelligence. Major General E.A.P. Udiendeye retains his position. House of Representatives have stressed the need to engage with Nigerians in the diaspora as a national priority to translate policies that strengthens democracy and national unity. The Speaker of the House, Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, who disclosed in Abuja while launching the Need Rest application and website, said it is aimed at solving diaspora communication challenges. Abbas, who said Nigerians in the diaspora have distinguished themselves in various fields of endeavors, maintains a strong and cooperative relationship with the executive, guided by a shared commitment to advancing policies and initiatives that strengthen diaspora engagement and enhance the welfare of Nigerians abroad. Abbas, who was represented by Honorable Patrick Omo Akwaibom, also observed that their extensive knowledge, professional experience, and global networks have continued to project Nigeria as a country of excellence, creativity, and enterprise.
The theme is therefore both timely and strategic, as it draws attention to the need to harmonize efforts in channeling the energy, skills, resources of our people in the diaspora towards strengthening our nation's economy and institutions. Nigerians in the diaspora have continued to play vital roles in shaping our economic, social, and diplomatic progress. Their influence extends across global industries, where they distinguish themselves as professionals, entrepreneurs, and innovators. The theme of this engagement aligns with the legislative agenda of the 10th House of Representatives, particularly its focus on inclusion, accountability, and economic reform. The 10th House considers diaspora engagement as a national priority, one that must translate into structured policies that strengthen our democracy and national unity.
Chairman of the House on Diaspora, Tochukwu Okere, said Nigerian stakeholders' engagement on diaspora governance is all about bringing together policies, institutions, and technology to create a unified approach to diaspora governance. He said the initiative hopes to align laws, government actions, and state-level efforts for better coordination on diaspora matters.
The initiative is all about bringing together policies, institutions, and technology to create a unified approach to diaspora governance. And here is what we hope to achieve: aligning laws, government actions, and state-level efforts for better coordination on diaspora matters, easier access to consular help, emergency aid, and welfare services for Nigerians living abroad, using reliable, privacy-protected data to guide planning and protection and programs, stronger ways to attract investment, share skills, foster innovation, and connect small businesses, improved rules for managing migration fighting trafficking, and providing legal safeguards. Reliable ways for governments, diaspora groups, and partners to communicate and collaborate. Secondly, to launch the Nigerians in Diaspora Response app web named NIDRES. NIDRES is our new tool to make it simpler for the government to connect and support Nigerians abroad.
On her part, the Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Mrs. Abike Dabirerewa, helped on regular conversations to deepen diaspora engagement, adding that the collaboration with the House can no longer be ignored.
Our holistic catalyst, a catalyst for holistic growth of our dear nation, Nigeria. So as we have these conversations, how do we deepen governance of the diaspora? How do we engage the diaspora further? We expect all stakeholders to be a part of this. Next year, we'll be reviewing the diaspora policy, and we're hoping that whatever comes out of here will guide us in reviewing the policy next year. So as we have this conversation, let's take it very, very seriously, because the diaspora cannot be ignored. I just returned this morning from 2 very important engagements in the UK. All our doctors in the UK gathered together to talk about how they will give back to Nigeria. And next year, they're all going to be here to do various things. Why can't our doctors build medical centers of excellence in the country if they're the best in the world? Also, another function on agri-tourism by Nigerians saying, we want to come home and invest. They were looking at the area of agri-tourism. So there's so much we can do with our diaspora. We are the best in the world.
Stakeholders present at the engagement also called for diaspora voting, legislative and executive partnership, amongst others. Federal High Court, Territory High Court, Federal Capital Territory High Court, I beg your pardon, in Maitama, Abuja, has adjourned till December 1 for the hearing of a preliminary objection filed by Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan in a trial for alleged defamation of Senate President Godswill Akpabio and former Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello. The trial judge, Justice Chizoba Orji, fixed the date after the prosecuting counsel, David Kaswe, informed the court that although the matter was scheduled for a hearing of the objection, while the prosecution served its response on the defense and the response had been filed with the court. This is coming after Akpoti-Uduaghan was arraigned on June 19 before the court on a 3-count charge bordering on harmful imputation filed by the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, and in the charge, Akpoti-Uduaghan was accused of making harmful imputations that she allegedly damaged the reputation of Senate President Akpabio by claiming that he conspired with former Governor Yahaya Bello to kill her. She was further accused of making similar imputations against Bello and another against Akpabio, allegedly linking him to the death of Ms. Inyobong Omoren, while Akpoti-Uduaghan pleaded not guilty to all the charges. Responding, West Idahosa confirmed that the defense had not received the prosecution's response and none of the defendant's lawyers had been served, and further appealed to the court to grant a long adjournment, insisting that members of the defense team plan to attend this year's International Bar Association conference in Canada. After listening to both parties, Justice Orji adjourned the hearing of the preliminary investigation objection to December 1. President of the ECOWAS Court of Justice, Justice Ricardo Goncalves, says the regional court is taking steps to reform and streamline its judicial procedures to ensure faster and more efficient delivery of justice across the sub-region. Goncalves, who disclosed this on Monday in Niger State during the opening ceremony of the 2025 judicial retreat of the Community Court, themed efficiency and effectiveness, streamlining processes for a dynamic ECOWAS court, said the retreat was designed to review the functioning of the court's department, access their collaboration with the College of Judges, and examine the implementation of previous resolutions with a view to enhancing the institution's overall performance. According to him, special attention during this year's deliberations will focus on comparative judicial practices relating to summary hearings, interim measures, and other procedural matters essential to ensuring swift and fair adjudication. The ECOWAS Court President said litigants within the sub-region expect efficiency and timeliness in the court's rulings, stressing that the judiciary must evolve to meet the growing demands of regional integration and citizens' rights. Goncalves further said the credibility of the court depended on discipline, collaboration and adherence to institutional roles among judges and staff, adding that effective cooperation was crucial to achieving the court's mandate. Former president of the Nigerian Bar Association, Dr. Olisa Agbakoba-San, has called for a complete overhaul of Nigeria's governance system through a new constitution and genuine fiscal federalism, describing the reforms as the only viable path to national prosperity. Agbakoba made the disclosure while addressing journalists in Lagos during the presentation of his new policy paper titled "Devolution is the Solution: Foundational Reform Agenda for Nigeria's Transformation." The legal luminary argued that the current 1999 constitution imposed by the military is a cracked foundation incapable of supporting true federalism or economic growth, and also described Nigeria's governance as a unitary federation, stressing that while the federal structure controls 97% of national revenues, 90% of governance responsibilities, including 704 local governments and 35 of 36 states, depend entirely on federal transfers. He also said President Bola Tinubu's economic reforms, including subsidy removal and exchange rate liberalization, are technically sound but are trapped in a dysfunctional political system, and further proposed a new constitution based on popular sovereignty, fiscal autonomy, and devolution of powers. Under his model, the federal government would handle national matters such as defense, foreign affairs, currency, and immigration. States will manage resources, security, electricity, and education, while local governments would oversee primary education, water, and sanitation, and also argue that private sector empowerment should be the primary driver of the economy, with government exiting from commercial activities to release over 10 trillion naira in trapped capital. Country Director of the International Human Rights Commission and retired Army Captain Ambassador Abdullahi Bokaji Adamu says the recent sack of Nigeria's service chiefs has sent mixed feelings across the north, as many people in the region are watching closely to see whether replacements will reflect fairness and balance. Adamu, who is also a retired captain, described the president's decision as both political and strategic, disclosed this while expressing readiness to make tough decisions and deeper questions about political moves and internal power struggles. According to him, some Nigerians believe the decision might be connected to a suspected attempted coup or internal realignment within the military hierarchy, adding that such claims remain unconfirmed and also reflect the level of mistrust and political complexity surrounding security leadership in the country. Ambassador Adamu said while the sack of the service chief shows that the president is ready to act decisively, it has created mixed emotions in the north, adding that Nigerians have long observed that the government reacts quickly only when the elite are affected. Ambassador Adamu acknowledged that the former army chief and his team did their best under difficult conditions, but were limited by systemic problems. The human rights advocate urged the newly appointed service chiefs to adopt a broader and more people-focused strategy, adding that it is part of efforts to strengthen national security. The 10th leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, has abandoned his earlier plan to call witnesses in his ongoing trial before the Federal High Court in Abuja following his prosecution on 7 counts charges of terrorism brought against him by the federal government. This is coming after on Friday Kanu had prayed the court for an adjournment after informing the trial judge, Justice James Omotosho, that his former legal team, led by a former Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Chief Kanu Agabi-san, could not release his case file to him. Meanwhile, Kanu had earlier expressed his readiness to open his defense in a written application to the court, in which he indicated his intention to call witnesses and requested the issuance of witness summons. And at the resumed hearing on Monday, Kanu told the court that upon reviewing the case file, he had concluded that there was no valid charge against him. He argued that since he believed the charges were unlawful and that the prosecution had failed to establish any case, there was no need for him to proceed with his defense, and in response, the trial judge, Justice James Omotosho, directed Kanu to file a written address formally stating his disposition and serve the same on the prosecution matter. Justice Omotosho further advised the IPOB leader to consult experts in criminal law to diagnose the possible legal implications of his decision, and thereafter adjourned the case to November 4, 5, and 6 for the adoption of the final written addresses based either on Kanu's position that no case had been established against him, or for him to proceed with his defense if he decides otherwise. Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board has cleared 85 underage candidates after rigorous screening process for exceptional admission into tertiary institutions. A statement issued on Monday by its head of media, Dr. Fabian Benjamin Jam, said the 85 candidates, all younger than 16 years as of September 2025, were found qualified after a rigorous multi-stage evaluation process, adding that out of 2,31,103 applicants in the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, UTME, 41,027 candidates were considered under the special category. JAM also advised any of the final candidates who missed the final interview to submit a formal request through its support system, and reaffirmed its commitment to maintaining transparency, inclusiveness, and academic integrity across all tiers of tertiary education in Nigeria. This is coming after JAM, in a statement on October 16, said only candidates who will be 16 years old by August 2025 will be admitted to tertiary institutions, and the directive was a follow-up to the new policy that the Ministry of Education introduced, which states the adoption of 18 years as the minimum age for admission into tertiary institutions. And now to some business news. Federal Inland Revenue Service has achieved a record-breaking tax collection of 7.39 trillion naira between October 2023 and September 2025 under the current leadership of the FIRS chairman, Zach Adedeji. This is coming after President Bola Tinubu had approved the appointment of the tax chair on September 14, 2023, and the tax agency exceeded its revenue target by 15%, and data show that the service recorded sustained growth in both oil and non-oil revenue sources, reflecting the impact of ongoing tax reforms and modernization initiatives. The 47.39 trillion naira collection represents a sharp jump from 21.97 trillion naira recorded between October 2021 and September 2023, underscoring a 115% performance against targets, and it achieved a record-breaking revenue growth of 47.39 trillion naira, representing 115% of the target. Socio-economic rights and accountability projects have called on the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Bayo Ojulari, to explain the whereabouts of alleged missing oil funds amounting to 22.3 billion naira, $49.7 million, 14.3 million pounds, and 5.2 million euros, and are all accounted for in the company's financial records. The civic group, in a letter dated October 25, 2025, and signed by its Deputy Director, Kolawale Oluwadare, said the missing sums were documented in the 2022 annual report recently published by the Auditor General of the Federation on September 9, 2025, and urged Ojulari to identify and hand over those responsible for the alleged diversion or misappropriation of the funds to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission and the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission for prosecution. It also demanded for the missing funds to be recovered and returned to the National Treasury without further delay, adding that the Auditor General has over the years consistently documented similar reports of unremitted or missing oil revenues, while ordinary Nigerians continue to bear the brunt of widespread corruption in the oil sector. SERAP further alleged that the misappropriated oil revenues reflected a broader failure of accountability and transparency at the NNPCL, while contributing to Nigeria's rising debt levels and deficit spending. SERAP gave the NNPCL a 7-day ultimatum to take the recommended steps or face appropriate legal action to compel compliance, while the Auditor General reportedly expressed fears that much of the money may have been diverted or misappropriated and called for its recovery and remittance to the Treasury. SERAP cited Section 115, Paragraph 5 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, which mandates public institutions to abolish all corrupt practices and abuse of power, and also urged the NNPCL to act transparently in the public interest. And now some international tidbits. President Paul Biya, has been declared winner of Cameroon's presidential election after extending his rule to a record 8th consecutive term despite opposition claims of electoral fraud. The Constitution Council declared on Monday that Biya, 92, emerged victorious in the country's disputed poll, cementing his position as the world's oldest serving head of state. The result means Biya, who has ruled since 1982, will remain in power until 2032. However, the declaration has been met with strong rejection from opposition leaders. Issa Chiroma Bakari, Biya's main challenger, had earlier declared himself the winner, insisting that the official results would be tainted and not reflective of the people's will. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio met with India's Foreign Minister on Monday as the two countries pushed trade talks and eased tensions over Washington's punishing tariffs. Few details were released, but Rubio's meeting with Subramanian Jaishankar is the highest level contact since the United States imposed sanctions last week on Russian oil companies, a key source of India's crude supplies. The meeting took place on the sidelines of the Southeast Asian Summit in Malaysia, which U.S. President Donald Trump attended in person, and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed by video link. Trump, who spoke to Modi last week by telephone, has claimed that the Indian leader has agreed to cut Russian oil imports, something new that he has not commented on. And here now is ATN Sports News. Super Eagles striker Victor Osimhen has commended Galatasaray to keep improving despite their impressive start to the 2025 and 2026 season. The Yellow and Reds maintained their fine form with a 3-1 victory over Gostep at the Rams Park. Osimhen, Gabriel Saya and Moro Ekadi were on target for Okan Buruk's side in the game, and Galatasaray currently occupy the top spot on the Turkish Super League table with 28 points, while Paul Onwaku's Transport sits in second position with 23 points. And now, entertainment news. Popular Nigerian actress Regina Daniels has acquired a new house just days after accusing her husband, Senator Ned Nwoko, of domestic violence. This is coming after the actress made the allegation in a viral video on social media. Reacting to the allegation, Senator Nwoko, in a lengthy post on his Instagram page, accused the actress of drug abuse, and after the incident, the actress reportedly filed for divorce. However, amid the divorce rumors, Regina Daniels bought a new storage building for herself, adding that she needed a roof over her head. Popular singer, songwriter and record producer David Adeleke, known as Davido, says the choice of Akwa Ibom as the first state in Nigeria to host its music concert is due to the quality of facilities in the state. Speaking at the pre-concert reception hosted by Akwa Ibom State Governor Omo Eno and